Hello there to everybody in the live chat and anybody that'll watch this video later, and then of course our audio only listeners for our podcast channel as well. Thanks for joining us here. We are coming back to do some more Comic-Con talk, and so it is the Monday before the week of Comic-Con. So for us, we normally hit the ground running on that Monday of Comic-Con week. We normally try to get out here a couple days ahead of time to get things started with all the build, and I shouldn't say get things started, but kind of get things ramped up, I should say. So that being said, we are a week off from that and excited to be back down here and looking around for Comic-Con stuff and definitely finding some cool things. So for those joining in the live chat there, I think Carmel will be joining us. She's unable to be on the show this time around because as many of you were very kind and reached out from last week and stuff, our dog had surgery, actually had a tumor removed, so we're still waiting on the biopsy results. And so hopefully everything's good there. The dog is healing, the pup's healing, but Carmel is, well, we're basically making sure to stay 24 hours pretty much a day with our pup. So we have actually a Six Flags media thing for the new Wonder Woman coaster this week, so Carmel's going to go to that and I'll stay home, and so we're just kind of alternating, trying to keep perks and cons afloat while making sure the dog is in best hands. So again, thank you for those that have asked in the chat and reached out on social media or wherever else. He is healing and hopefully all will be well. So that being said, though, we are here to talk Comic-Con, so let's get to talking about that. And so this week I think kind of signifies for us a change and kind of a pivot in terms of the direction, because the weeks leading up to this have been so much about coming down and doing various, of course including all the updates, but also doing a lot of things that are prep videos and things like that. And so we had the convention center video, for example, go up last week, and the exhibit hall floor map video go up last week. And not that we won't have some more prep things or tip things we may there, but now it's starting to be more like boots on the ground as stuff is being built and kind of sharing what we're finding in real time to let people know what's going on down here as they plan to make their way down to Comic-Con. So coming down here today, very first thing as I was pulling into the parking structure over off of 6th and K, I believe it is, where we normally park, somewhere over in that area. But that the Hard Rock, they had things mounted for a wrap to go up, and so there was no work yet, but it was mounted to begin. And this is the time of year where I'm always kind of looking up high at the hotel, seeing if there's anybody on top of the roof getting ready to put some wraps together and things like that. And so I immediately saw that and I was like, okay, maybe we'll see something today. And that's been a very slow go, but you may have seen that on social media today. We posted it and sent it over to our friends at the SDCC unofficial blog as well and posted. And so we know the Hard Rock Hotel is supposed to be all about Apple this year, and they have their Severance escape room, which I'm hoping I'll be able to get the opportunity to do. But with it, it is green and white, and it's a very slow go. One of the things that I think I had maybe forgotten a little bit in the 3 years off since the last San Diego Comic-Con is how long it takes to do wraps. Wraps are a very, very slow process. So all throughout the day, I've been going back over there like every half hour, and it is very, very slow. So as of this recording, whatever you've seen on social media is as far as it's gone. But for our audio only people, by the time they'll hear this, it'll be old news, whatever it is, So my impression, the Hard Rock was one of the ones that we first kind of found out about being Apple the earliest on. Like, this was weeks and weeks and weeks ago, and some employees there had said that that's what was going to be happening. So we waited for them to break that news, but they said it was going to be like a total hotel type buyout thing. So now whether they knew or not about the wrap side of things, but we've been kind of just figuring that the wraps are all going to be Apple related, but maybe they won't be. Maybe it'll be something totally different. But when we wrap up recording this, we'll go back again and check that out, and we'll post so you can see that. But it was exciting to kind of see a Comic-Con wrap go up there. As we were pulling into town, also the Disney Cruise Line, they have 3 wraps over on the parking structure adjacent to the Bayfront, which is behind me as we're recording this. And so in 2019, that was the Avengers game that was coming out at the time, and it was one that they put up much earlier. So maybe that territory is just going to start becoming kind of Disney territory. This time around, it is for the Disney Cruise Line, and so maybe it'll stay longer, but it's up in time for Comic-Con, and people that will be sitting in Hall H line will see it all weekend, staring up there at Donald and Daisy in front of a big cruise ship there. So we'll see if anything else. I mean, I'm sure for those that are watching the video, behind me is the Bayfront, and I'm sure we'll see a big old wrap there as well, and I don't think it'll be Disney Cruise Line. So 3 wraps over there by the Bayfront, all Disney Cruise Line. Then the 1 wrap over at the Hard Rock that is very slow go. And then the one that's been moving the quickest and was kind of surprising to me is just over at 12 Park, which, if you're familiar with where Lolita's is, a food spot that we often suggest. It's right across from there, those condos, I believe they're condominiums. It's where the Jordan Peele Twilight Zone for Paramount Plus wrap was in 2019. Well, that whole building there is currently being done up as Teen Wolf for the new Teen Wolf movie coming to Paramount Plus. So on the front, it is kind of classic Teen Wolf imagery, or I should say classic for the new era MTV Teen Wolf, not from back in my day Teen Wolf. And then on the side is a big Paramount Plus logo going up. And they've been actually moving pretty fast. They have a much larger wrap than the Hard Rock, so I don't know if this is something that the Hard Rock's going to get speeding as things get further along, but they got so far, and then they just stopped for an hour or two, and then they got back to it, and it was still kind of a slow go. So as I said, we'll see what that is. And again, for those that listen audio only, I'm sure it'll all be long done by the time. I mean, our plan is to try to get down here, this being one of 3 days this week, and then next week down here the entire week. And so I'm guessing by the next time we're down here, those will all be old news, and they'll be gone, and nobody will care about those wraps, and there'll be new wraps and new decor and things like that. I still personally haven't seen the Crunchyroll, like the bus wraps and things like that. I know there was the Chainsaw Man one that went up like over the weekend. I've still not seen any of those with my own eyes. The MTS, all I keep seeing over and over again, Comic-Con related, is the Paper Girls one and the Abbott Elementary. Those two I keep seeing over and over and over. And then just a lot of like Padres and Casino and things like that. So I keep hoping that I will eventually see something, from the Crunchyroll stuff or other wraps there, things like that. So somebody, Marceline, they saw the wraps in downtown there. Yeah, I've just not yet. So, but yeah, I walked 4th, 5th, 6th, all of those areas. Hope to find some other new things. Went to the backside of the Marriott a few years back. Was it 2019? I think when they did the Gundam one back there, and the boys, they were kind of hidden behind. I thought I might find stuff there. Nothing over there. The Children's Park Museum still looks like a war zone over there, construction and all of that. I should say the park area. So not a lot of changes there. So a few wraps was about it, but it was neat seeing those wraps. Oh, Sweet Things San Diego over at the Bayfront. You may have seen those pictures go up on social media as well. They are doing a full big display in their windows and it looks like it's a real kind of tribute to families and cosplay and kind of cosplay families and returning back to San Diego Comic-Con. It's a real kind of feel-good, reunited kind of vibe to what they're working on. And so it's in the early stages of being put together now, but it looks like that'll probably be done by the end of the week as well. So we'll have more to share with that as soon as that's revealed. And so we always put all this stuff up on social media. Twitter's the best way to find it there. The videos, as we move into like next week, I don't know if it'll happen this week, we'll see, but like as there's more progress with those, we'll put together YouTube videos as well that do build updates. We'll definitely do some live ones for like larger things where we can get a bunch at a time, but a lot of times the problem with live stuff is it's like, there's something going on over at the Marriott, and then there's something going on over on the Bayfront, and that's a long walk to have a lot of nothing in between on the live. So we'll see what we do with that, but you can kind of follow along with us on YouTube for all of those video updates and things like that. So okay, so some of the news. There's a lot of news, obviously, in the last week. I mean, the floodgates really opened for Comic-Con, and there have been so many days in the last few or last week really here since the last time we recorded, where it was like, wow, this really feels like Comic-Con. Like this is the old days of Comic-Con where the news is just flooding in. So feel free for those that are live in the chat to throw in topics if you want me to touch on those as well. But I have a few kind of the bigger picture ones that I know we get more questions about or more people have reached out about in the weeks, last few weeks and stuff. So one of them, actually, there was a question last week when we did a live stream about The Walking Dead returning, if we thought that was going to happen. And at the time, it was like not really sure on that one. And with that, the concern of like, okay, is Walking Dead going to get to wrap up its run? And I know there's a bunch of spin-offs coming from Walking Dead. I mean, the Walking Dead universe is vast, but really hoping for those fans that they kind of get their last panel of the Walking Dead cast. And AMC announced The Walking Dead is coming. Now, the offsite is interesting. So they're not using the kind of Dead Quarters side there, which that still seems to be, that's the Game of Thrones prequel, House of the Dragon, seems to be in that territory, but it seems they're going to be using the Hilton gas lamp. So the way I'm picturing it is, if you recall, if you've been to Comic-Con when they did like the DC Universe one, or the year that Netflix took over and had like Stranger Things and the Defenders and stuff like that, it seems like it's going to be that part of the Hilton gas lamp. But one thing about the offsite, it seems to be mostly focused on Friday at 7:30 p.m. There's all this stuff about appearances, about free t-shirts, about art, about prop, and I don't know if we're gonna see that much wider than that. I know one thing that we've seen over the last few years, meaning 2019, 2018 particularly, is it felt like more of some of the companies that come out, it seems like they're really about like very high quality experiences with extremely low capacity. And they gather up their video and it looks incredible, but in terms of actually like attendees at the con, not many are able to do them. The ones that do them, it's fantastic. But so if you look at something like Westworld, which had extremely low capacity, or if you look at something like to a certain degree, even Purge City was a little bit lower capacity, but they're very like interactive. American Horror Story in 2019 I think really was in that. Like if you went through American Horror Story, you got some amazing high quality interactive theater type stuff there in a haunt format, but at the same time it was pretty low capacity. So that's what it seems like Walking Dead is going to be. So you'll see what it ends up being, but it looks like right now that's targeted mostly for Friday nights, so not sure yet how access to that'll go. The schedule dropped. Obviously that was a huge deal. That's maybe the biggest deal for a lot of people of the week and maybe of the convention year, was the schedule drop. And so with the schedule drop, I'm sure if you are listening in and thinking Comic-Con or going to Comic-Con, you've started kind of plotting out your schedule some. I know this is the time of year where we have, highlighted a lot of things of interest, a lot of pie in the sky stuff, and then we'll see as we get closer if we are able to actually do them. On the panel topic, if you've not listened to, the Unofficial Blog did their live show on YouTube and also then in podcast format. They broke down the schedule for Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday, and that's something I listened to on the drive down here. I'll listen to it on the drive back, but I know it helps us a lot with kind of planning, so highly suggest checking that out and hearing what they have to say kind of on their theories of when to line up and things like that. My big suggestion always when it comes to that side of things, the panels, is that we're big on being opportunists, so we're all about watching social media. There's things, so for example, like Dungeons and Dragons on the Thursday in Hall H at I believe it's noon. That is definitely something that interests me, because I think we'll be able to like walk into it pretty much, but I'll be watching social media. Even the Masters of the Universe one in Hall H, I'm intrigued by, like maybe they're going to announce some stuff for the film or things like that. So we're really big on monitoring social media and looking for soft spots and finding those. Severance in Ballroom 20 is very interesting to us as well, and so those are kind of my biggest tips when it comes to panels, is really monitoring social media and looking for those soft spots. So okay, let's pause there with the news and take a few of the questions that have come in. So Fandom Party, I've seen a lot of people asking about that on social media and also in the live chat today. It's looking like they had responded to something that there will be a sign up, or there'll be more news tomorrow, I believe is what the answer to the question was. Whether that means more news is tomorrow, like signing up tomorrow, so that's Tuesday as of this recording, or more news is as of like, hey, watch out next week. There was a year of fandom where it was like signing up, I want to say like day of, and so hopefully it's not that. Hopefully it gets it in and gets it out of the way tomorrow. But we will see with that, what more comes of that. But yeah, it's definitely coming soon. Dungeons and Dragons, I know somebody had asked about that. That offsite went up for reservations today as well, and it lasted a few hours. It was up there longer than a lot of these things, I feel like. Maybe 4 or 5 hours that there were still reservations available, but as I saw last note, that was gone. And so they do have a standby line. Not sure what the wait will be like there, but as is very common with Comic-Con, there'll be a lot of people that book reservations that don't show up, or maybe they got double booked because their friend booked as well, and now they're taken care of. So definitely worth checking out, and another one again to kind of watch on social media. Saw a question about Amazon offsite, and if there's any other questions that I missed, you can feel free to throw them back in the chat there. So for Amazon, we have not seen any movement on anything with it. So we keep thinking there's going to be some big Amazon stuff, but we have not seen evidence of it at all. The quote-unquote normal location, like where they were in 2019, 18, maybe 17 as well, is a parking lot as of today. There's no signage about it not being a parking lot soon. It just looks like nothing is going to be happening there. Let's see, a question came in about behind, like in this general area where we're recording. So we will see if it is FX. I think it's very much going to be FX. I think there's a lot pointing to Disney doing a lot of, where just as Warner Brothers has done things very differently with their new acquisition, in a lot of ways it feels like Disney's doing things very similar to past years, in terms of like Marvel is coming and all of their Fox domination stuff is coming and their animated panels. And so, you know, there's not any big surprising things, like there's no Mandalorian panel or Ahsoka panel, but there's a lot of just kind of what we've come to expect. So if we reverse the clock and look, FX is behind us here, and so I would imagine we will get that announcement, but we'll see. There was a question about Petco. The interactive zone is returning. It's been noted in a few things. I don't even recall exactly what was the last time. The Ghost is over there. And I feel like there's been a couple other small ones. Maybe that's where the Star Trek Wrath of Pecan truck is. Ice cream truck, maybe I saw. I don't know, a couple of the small things. What are the 30-minute events? They're just titles of anime. Oh, those I believe are just screenings of it's just like films there. So I don't know of anything more beyond that, but just showing, you know, short showings of things there. Kind of like a screening room, I believe. Not positive like that. There was Kim, there's the ice cream trucks at Petco. Thank you very much. So yeah, those are things that are all out there, but there is at least like, I think 4 big things that we know are still coming that have not been announced on the offsite side. So there's more to come, and there's always things that get announced during Comic-Con. There's always things that, you know, Comic-Con ends and we're checking online and we're like, wait, that happened over there. So, you know, I think that's going to be pretty normal this year. If not, that's going to be even bolstered, because so many things are running behind, and so that's going to come. Any ideas of where to follow for Fandom? Yeah, I believe it's Get Fandom is the social media there. There's an answer by the blog in there. Look at the, oh, it faded too quick for me, but there's a response to the anime question, so thank you very much there. And you think Stranger Things ice cream ring is coming? I did. I don't know if I do anymore. I thought Amazon was as well. I'm not sure. I'm not positive about those, so I don't know. We'll see. That's the thing about the Amazon one, and also the Stranger Things speculation. Those seemed like really big things, and like the fact that Amazon isn't working away, at least anywhere that I can see as I'm walking these streets. You know, it's funny, down here this time of year, almost everywhere I go, people are talking about Comic-Con. Like, they're explaining to their friends what Comic-Con is. The other convention people are explaining what it is to each other. Everybody's talking about Comic-Con. It's so strange to me how many people are just on the street talking about Comic-Con that not even are going to Comic-Con necessarily, but they're just explaining the spectacle of it. So a lot of times I will get information as I'm wandering these streets just hearing people talk about things like, oh, over on 6 there's that thing, I think that might be a Comic-Con thing or whatever, and just nothing that I have experienced on the streets out here or anything has given me any leads on anything Stranger Things or Amazon related. So it doesn't mean it's not going to be announced. I mean, but who knows? As I'm recording this, they may have announced it right now while I'm sitting here talking, but nothing to share on any of those. So sorry about that there. Oh, so a couple other little news bits there. The exclusives portal, signings as well in there. It's been a little herky-jerky over the weekend and a lot of challenges there. I know for a while, like, press weren't able to enter, like mine didn't work, and I think it's supposed to work now, though I haven't checked it today. But just in general, people were having trouble with that all going through. So it's not due till Friday afternoon, so I would check in. I know for me, I'm trying to not really think about it much until like Wednesday. And then Wednesday, it's like, okay, is this thing working or not? So I'm not trying to fixate on it too much for that. With the exclusive portal, if you've not done that before, the lottery, you get an allocation of, quote unquote tokens. And so you really decide where you want to put them. So if you want to do the For All Mankind signing and you're all in on that, then you'd put all your tokens on that and you're trying for that. If For All Mankind matters as much to you as Funko, then you'd split them half and half. Our strategy normally is to just go all in on whatever we want to do, like pick one thing a day type of thing. Not to say that we've been super successful with it. I think we've won the lottery between Carmel and I think we won it once in 18 and once in 19. So it's not like we've had like great success or anything. So I'm not saying that's a great strategy, but that's just been our thought, is that there's so many people entering. And so that's how we've gone. Yeah, there's a question about the D&D offsite reservations. They are gone. We talked about that a little bit earlier, at least as I saw last, it had all sold out, quote unquote, all gone there. But there is a standby line there, so you can check out that. Okay, so exclusive portals up, a big deal for a lot of us. I know it's a little bit different again without having, Hasbro as part of it this time around. Again, they're going to the QR code for a couple things, which if you follow along in kind of the toy universe, it looks like a couple of their online pre-order exclusives have already been leaked. So they've not been official yet, but they look to be leaked. So we will see there. Question about restaurants requiring masks. None that I've been to down here. I mean, really, I don't think there's anywhere in the gas lamp I've been that is requiring masks. I think the convention is requiring it, but I've not seen anywhere else require them for many, many months. Lego exclusives, no news on that yet, but Lego is always a late one to the party. I feel like, I've been on the floor of the convention learning about things from Lego, so nothing too much there yet. Were they not making a D&D TV series or movie? It is for the movie that's coming out next year, and they have a Hall H panel on Thursday of the convention. So I don't know if there's a series to go with that as well, but that's the latest on that for now. Mattel announced their, 12 days of exclusives, which seems like they're gonna be continuing to announce things while the convention is going on. They also are having online sales, so that's on July 22nd. So it looks like you have 2 shots at getting Mattel exclusives, either lining up for the booth or getting them online. I do like today they announced, the Chaos in the Outhouse or something like that, which was like a classic movie scene. And it looked totally like a Comic-Con exclusive, which was great. And it's disappointing that Hasbro isn't doing that, but this looked like something we would have expected as a Comic-Con exclusive in 2015. And so that was cool to see. So watch out for more news coming from Mattel as the days go on, and then maybe we'll learn about some of the stuff when we hit the floor for those going to that. And then also today announced the NBC Universal offsite, returning to the Tin Fish kind of plaza area over there. It does look like it's going to be modeled a little bit more closely off of what Special Edition had. If you went to Comic-Con Special Edition or you just saw online what they did with La Brea, where it was kind of like a more open air thing in the plaza area with lots of photo ops and stuff. And then Tin Fish was kind of adjacent to it, but not as much part of it as something like back in the day with, like, I don't know, Blacklist or something like that. So it looks like it's gonna be that. They're doing one of the things that I always like when they do kind of like greatest hits. So they're like celebrating a lot of things. Not that I don't love like fully immersive stuff, like something like what Severance is gonna be, but I do think it's fun sometimes when you have kind of greatest hits, particularly with all the stuff that NBC Universal has to celebrate. I was still hoping that we get something tied to Nope, but I don't think that is happening. But if you are a Universal Studios Hollywood fan, you can go ride the studio tour, and they have the actual set, one of the big sets from Nope, opening up on the 22nd, as many of us will be down here at Comic-Con. So unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to see that in person for a while, but not seeing anything related to Nope down at Comic-Con, even though it does open that, what is it, Thursday there. Okay. Let's see, so a couple other things here in terms of, just the preview and stuff I did want to say. So we will have a bunch of build videos going up. So if you want to, not miss those, please subscribe and follow along on YouTube there. But there will be a lot of updates, again, and they'll range from quick 2-3 minute videos of one offside to lives and do discussions and stuff. But we'll try to kind of document as much as possible in the days leading up to Comic-Con. And so a week from today, I would imagine we won't be allowed to like sit in this area because there'll be construction going on and things like that. So a lot of stuff starts happening on Monday, and it really becomes just a whirlwind of activity. And seeing so many things moving already a week out ahead, I'm sure that that's definitely going to be the case, so you can follow along there. Also, for those that we always want to thank our Parks and Cons crew that support on Patreon. Huge thanks to each of you. We put something in Mighty Networks today. We're going to do kind of a private chat, private tour, private planning meeting, whatever you want to talk about for Comic-Con from the Gas Lamp this Saturday. So you can check and get the link over there. Again, huge thanks to everybody that subscribes on Patreon and all of the support there. We do appreciate it. Okay, let's hit a couple tips here while we kind of look back on the week, and then I can take any other questions that pop up as well as we get to that. But there was 3 big ones I wanted to just hit on and just kind of elaborate on a little bit. One was just about being familiar with the floor. We talked about this more also in the exclusive, I'm sorry, not the exclusive, the exhibit hall floor map video that I did earlier in the week. I'm not saying like you have to memorize every booth by any means, but I think you really want to have some general ideas of where you are going on the floor. There's those like you want to know where the Netflix booth is, for example, and you want to know where the Hasbro booth is. And there's some of these things that it's really tough if you're on the floor and you see a tweet saying, hey, they're giving this stuff away over at, the AB or the Disney Plus booth, let's say, and then you don't know where that is. So, trying to be comfortable with those landmarks, I think, helps a lot. And otherwise, you kind of lose some time on the floor. And things go fast, like particularly if you're trying to do like that run, that first half hour on the floor when it opens either on preview night or Thursday or Friday or any of the days, you really have about 30 minutes of good time before the floor is saturated and it's just really a mess. So if you want to pop around and get a lot of swag or get good position for exclusives, it is that half hour. And so it really helps to be able to kind of turn on a dime as you are watching social media and getting alerts and notifications and things like that. So that was the first one there. The second tip of the week, and actually this next two are just about panels. The second one, looking at those panel descriptions really closely. As I was listening to the SDCC blog, their podcast breakdown, and they talked about this as well. Like, you go through that description and you just find so many cool things there of different, talent that you may really love that you just didn't realize based on the title. Very rarely does the title of a panel tell you everything you need to about the panel. Sometimes it does, but oftentimes if you go in, and I know it's a pain to read through them all, but I really do try to take time perusing them all to see who's on those and trying to see who's there and make sure if there's people that you've been on the lookout for that you're able to see them there. So make sure to keep an eye out on those descriptions if you have time. I know it's a big schedule. You might want to break that. At least that's what I do. I break it up over many days as I'm kind of trying to absorb it all there. And then the last one, this is, for longtime Comic-Con attendees, this is like breathing. You all know this, but for the newer people, it is so important to understand that Comic-Con does not clear rooms. That is a kind of unique thing to Comic-Con. A lot of Comic-Con attendees think that it's not like they don't understand how unique that is, because there's a lot of conventions that clear rooms. I'd say more conventions than not that we go to clear rooms in between panels. And so Comic-Con not doing that means you really have to plan out the day, and you got to look, you almost have to, like, I always start at the end of the day and then backwards map of like what's in there and trying to prepare for that, because Saturday is always the easiest example with Marvel. Like Saturday, Marvel, Hall H, it doesn't matter what's in there the rest of the day. They could be showing, you know, movies from the 70s, and it's just like, it's still going to be capacity all day long just for the Marvel panel. So it's a pain, but it is something that you have to really weigh in. So it's not as much what your panel is, how busy it is, or how popular it is, as much as how popular the room is. And obviously looking, and again, in that in that panel breakdown show that the blog did, they do such a good job of kind of talking about like trying to predict a little bit of the turnover of the room. Because like if you have Dragon Ball in there at 3, are they going to want to be in there, and this is all fictitious, but are they going to want to be in there for the Scott Snyder spotlight at 4:30? Maybe. I'd like to see Dragon Ball, and I'd like to see Scott Snyder, but there's not necessarily a lot of crossover there, so that's something to consider and make sure to kind of plan as well. I do say this always about the panels at Comic-Con and just in general with anything, you never regret really getting somewhere early if you're able to do it. You do regret not being able to. And I know in our early years of Comic-Con, like back in 05 and 06 or those types of years, there was several times we'd go to a panel and we would get there like an hour early, and we like just wouldn't make it in the room. And then we'd think like, man, we spent a whole hour locked outside the room making our way through this line to not get in, when an hour and a half would have maybe got us into the panel before it. And, you know, we would have been in air conditioning and actually seeing the thing we want to. So I find you very rarely regret getting to the thing earlier. So I'd say, you know, look at those times and then back it up even a little further. Okay, a couple more questions came in about the House of the Dragon signups for that offsite. Have not seen anything yet airing that. There has been talk, right, in their press release. They said that there's going to be, what is it, the HBO's drop zones or something like that. It sounds like there's going to be kind of these pop-up kind of spots where you can get like priority access to some things, but so far nothing about just kind of a regular sign up. It does look like it's going to be a slow go type of a offsite, so it's definitely something you are going to want to know everything about and sign up as early as you can or whatever else, but haven't seen anything with it yet. Dungeons and Dragons, there was a question about, do we think there'll be a trailer shown there or some footage? I think very much so. I would imagine that's where the trailer will come out. I said, I know when we did a video of just kind of showing where the Dungeons and Dragons offsite is and compare relative to the convention center and kind of what that walk looks like and what food options are on the way. And one of the things I talked about in that is just like Dungeons and Dragons to me is like, it's kind of represents what is like to me like my favorite type of you know, these offsites, is the types of offsites where you are able to you know, you're able to see that the stuff that you're maybe not as aware of. So like right now for me, I really don't have much of a picture of what Dungeons and Dragons is like in terms of as a film. I haven't seen much promotional material. I know Chris Pine's in it. I know Hugh Grant. I know some names that are in it, but I don't really know like how comedic it is or how serious it is. And so it comes to Comic-Con, and usually those types of properties, when they leave Comic-Con, I have a much clearer picture of what it is, and that's exciting. And so I think with Dungeons and Dragons, with them doing an offsite and a Hall H panel, that's a really good sign that we'll get footage, that will get, you know, I think at least a trailer, some sort of teaser, that will get a good idea of what the tone of the film is and kind of what to expect for it. I think it comes out, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it comes out March of next year. So this is a perfect time to really be promoting it and get some momentum as we go into the fall and get people excited about it and give them a little bit of a taste of what to expect. Will we be at the Ring of Power panel? I don't know. I never really, honestly, it's very hard for us to predict where we'll be one day to the next a lot of times, because we are really big on being opportunist and looking for soft spots in the schedule. And so we always have things mapped out. So we haven't mapped that part out yet. But I don't know, like I really want to be at the Severance panel, but I don't know if we will or not. So we will see what that ends up being. The Jordan Brand question, I have no clue. I have no clue the answer to that one. I'm sorry, I don't know. I really don't know. It's a question I've seen pop up a couple times, but I don't have any insights into that at all, so apologies there. Okay, so with that said, that hits all of our tips there. I have a couple last things just kind of to hit on, but any other questions before we get into that kind of last set of things here? Any other questions? If I missed it earlier, I apologize. If you want to throw it back in the chat there. Comic-Con a week out. Any off-site stuff, any panel stuff, any exclusive stuff, any swag stuff. I did want to hit on that just on the swag side of things. And even the exclusives a little bit, but the exhibit hall video we did, and a lot of you have been very kind about your feedback on that and being really nice about that. That video, though, it was very different doing that one this year, because I really don't know what to expect from a lot of those things with a couple years in between in terms of how we are doing. The panels have changed. Swag has changed over the year. As I said last week, Anime Expo, there was a lot of freebies there, like way more swag freebies than we've seen at Anime Expo, I think, ever in like the 10 years of going there. Does that mean there'll be more at Comic-Con? I don't know. There's Viz and Bandai, there's booths that overlap, but I don't know what that means for some of them. So yeah, somebody said, I remember my favorite MTV chair from Love Pink Hello Kitty. I have that MTV chair as well, and those were the types of pieces of swag you used to get back in the day that were really like there. And so we'll see what happens with that. Do you think Adult Swim will show up? Well, it's a weird one with that, because Adult Swim has their big festival in Philadelphia like the first weekend of August, and it's been strange to me that they've been promoting that so much. Now they do sell, I think, tickets to that and everything, so it is a different type of event, but it makes sense that they can come here and take pieces of that or all of that to Philadelphia, so that part does make sense, but the fact that it's so quiet on that front is a little odd. So I would give it, like, I don't know, a 60-40 that it's going to be here. I don't feel overly confident, but I would lean more that way. Question about Lego in the exclusive portal. If they do have their exclusives, I think that's what we'll see. I think that's likely that it will get added to the portal, and it's part of the reason also why I'm waiting to the very end to put in our tokens or put our exclusives in, because I kind of want a full picture there before obligating to anything, and Lego is definitely something that interests me, so I'm not sure, but yeah, I do think it will most likely go into the portal if they do. Now, they could do a different system, they could still have exclusives and not. They are, if you've not looked at the exhibit hall floor yet, they do have their nice big spot on the floor, so it looks like they're planning, their presence. They haven't reduced size in the way that, Hasbro did or anything like that, so I think things look good for that. Why do I get the message the cart already contains and then the name attending this event? That I am not sure about. I know we have spent very little time with the portal because basically I was not able to access it at all. So mine just was like, I didn't exist. Carmel was able to get in, but once we saw that it was so glitchy, we just kind of chose not to stress on it and let it sit for a few days. So I think that's what a lot of people are doing right now, as there is glitchiness. I mean, I feel like it's the number one thing we see on social media right now is the portal's not working for me, the portal's not working for me. So, yeah, I would hold on that. The weather, yes, the weather right now looks like really nice. Like, I think on preview night it says like the high is 72, which would be incredible if that holds up. It has not really been that temperature much on our visits down here, but that sounds incredible. So we've been watching that forecast for a long time, and now that we're actually in that kind of 10-day window, it's a good feeling that maybe we're not going to have 90 degrees. That would be nice. The humidity today, somebody's asking the question here, Suzumi, is not bad at all. It has not been great, though. I think it was like 2 weeks ago that we were down here. It was hot and humid, and so I know we've had some Comic Cons that definitely have the hot humid combo there. The question on the Game of Thrones, that's the one we're talking about, is the House of Dragon. Yeah, and that's going to be in that, like, kind of where Walking Dead quarters normally is. It's going to be in that general area there, and there will be signups there. All of these things, and obviously a million more things also, sdccblog.com or sd_comic_con over on their feed. They have articles on everything. So many, like, articles, it's mind-boggling, so you can check them all out there. James, I theorized Jordan Brand meant Michael during the podcast, but it makes 100% more sense. So there is a theory about our Jordan Brand that is like just totally over my head, everything related to that topic. So I will just gracefully, or maybe not so gracefully, step back and let others debate on the meaning of that one. So apologies on that. So, all right, any last questions? All right, we think, oh wait, here we go. Lego minifigure giveaway, last year's lineup towards Roy's and try your luck on the tablet. That is how it's been. That can be a soul-crushing experience. But I would imagine we will see minifigures return. That is, I think, a pretty easy thing to pull off, all things considered, and Lego's had a good track record with that, so we don't know that yet, but they have announced those very late, like really late, preview night type late and things like that. Question in the chat about what can I expect first time attendee. You can expect to be kind of overwhelmed by all of the choices, and I think that's why, I mean, for me, it's all about being kind of an opportunist and knowing that there's no way I could tell anybody on this show what I'm going to be doing Saturday at noon next week or when Comic-Con comes, because things, even if it's something I really love, it may change and other things happen and come up. And so every year, if you go back and like listen to our, you know, shows from Comic-Con, our post Comic-Con coverage is always like, wow, I didn't think we were going to do that, didn't know we'd have this opportunity, didn't see that coming. The entire convention is about opportunity, so I think my advice always is be open to those. I love the idea of going to Comic-Con with no must need to do, and this Comic-Con honestly for me is much more in that vein. There are currently like no exclusives that I feel like I quote unquote need, and I kind of love that. I mean, I'd rather there be stuff I really needed, but it's nice and it's freeing to feel like there's a bunch of stuff I like, but there's nothing that like is gonna, you know, break my heart not getting it. The same thing with the panels. There's not a single panel at Comic-Con that's like, it's got to be this. I will say the Severance offsite is the closest thing to like a must. Like that will definitely be one that I'm pretty disappointed if I don't get to do. But Castle Rock was that a few years ago. Castle Rock was like a must for me, and I never ended up doing it, and I still had a great time there. And you know, I think that, so as a first-time attendee, you know, try to be open to the experiences is always my biggest suggestion. Always have a plan, have lots of different, well, I could do this at 12 or this at 12. Like, we often have 2-3 different things we could do at like every hour of the day, but then we kind of pivot as we go. Question about the minifigures of lining up and at what time. That has gotten earlier and earlier and earlier over the years, disappointedly so. And the line has stretched down to like Seaport Village on that. So probably, you know, you would want to start scoping it out like 2 hours before. And I despise that that's what's happened, because back in the day, it wasn't like that at all. You cruised up there, you know, a half hour before and it was fine and everybody got in, but that definitely changed, and it actually is the reason we kind of tapped out on even bothering with the Lego minifigure drawing, because it became such a demand on time, and I'm not a big fan on waiting hours for lottery chances, things like that. How hard will rideshare be? So Gaslamp, I mean, the harbor is all closed off, so you've got to be further out there. And in general, a lot of these streets are closed off or impenetrable. So you really don't, I mean, it's hard because I'm always like, I'm such a walker, like I'm not interested in using scooters or rideshare or pedicabs or any of that. But I do think the pedicabs end up being a real lifesaver for a lot of people. The pedicabs can really help out. Question about the blood drive. I do not know anything about the blood drive except I saw, I know the blog just posted before this, there's a Thor Love and Thunder t-shirt that you can get. So they have an article up on the site, sdccblog.com. You can check it out right there. When do they start to let people draw for the Lego minifig? They will have a designated time that they start. So that will be publicized, whatever the time is. You know what I mean? One thing I want is Hello Kitty Cafe van. Now that Duddy's not showing up, I want to be there. Just, yeah. All right, so a lot of questions came in a flurry in the last couple minutes there. So I think I got all of them, but I probably didn't get all of them. So I'll hold a couple more seconds here for any more questions that I might have missed. I know Carmel sent me a few questions too, but I think I got all of them, but I may have missed because it's been a flurry. And I appreciate all the questions, actually, all the people tuning in. It helps, it's fun because truly the way that I know Carmel and I get to know Comic-Con so well is because people ask questions and it makes us look into things, and then we're like, oh wait, that's really cool, we should do that too. So I appreciate all these questions. Oh, missed a question about the museum, the Spider-Man exhibit. Is it a must-see? So I have not seen it. I know our friend Kim from Outside Comic-Con has seen it, and she got to go check it out. We were not able to make it down for that preview. Everything I've seen, to me, it looks like a must-see. Like, I really, really want to see it, and our plan is to see it a couple days before Comic-Con. So for us, it is a must-see, and I think it looks really cool. I'm definitely excited to see it. Big thank you to everybody inquiring about our pup again, Dr. Zayas, our dog at home that's on the mend. We very much appreciate that, all those well wishes. We appreciate all of you. Once again, up on the channel, we have all sorts of videos up there. I think we're up to like 12 or so videos on the channel that you can check out there. We've got the convention center, we've got outside the convention center, we've got food tips, we've got backpack tips, we've got a lot of different stuff. We've got conversations like this as well. Lots and lots of things there. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up here. Thank you for tuning in. We will be back soon, probably Wednesday, with another one of these. So we will put it out on our social media feeds and let you know. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, we will see you in line somewhere.